Celestin, this film is dedicated to you. You gave us a warm welcome at the airport. In a few weeks you became an African brother to me. The only defibrillator in Ouagadougou was not working when you had a heart attack, and so you had to leave us so quickly. You are with us. We humans are migrants from Africa. This remained banned to the darkness of so-called prehistory for a long time. The German anthropologist Hermann Baumann stated 70 years ago that Eurasia was populated by hunters from Africa. Current genetics confirms that, as to be seen in this diagram. It's dating the origin of Homo sapiens in Africa 200,000 years back. For the findings of Homo habilis in East Africa, we have to go back 2 million years. History begins for our Western culture only 10,000 years ago, with life in cities and states, with economic and military expansion. Based on economic growth, through increase and intensification of production and expansion of arable land, which continues to this day. This is what they call agrarian revolution and start of civilization. Other cultures have not taken this step. These are non-state cultures that go back to the long period of early history and have not cut their roots in nature. We can learn a lot from them. That is what this film is about. My friend, the musician Dieter Weberpals from Nuremberg, was our door opener to Africa. His music also accompanies parts of this film. That's me, Manfred Weule. I am born in Goslar in North Germany, near to the Harz Mountains. Cultural anthropologist, counselor, flute player. As a boy, I had my first encounter with Africa in the form of a book by my granduncle Karl Weule in my father's bookshelf. It attracted and repelled me at the same time. Following his example, I later studied cultural anthropology myself. But there was probably more. 30 years later, after our first trip to Africa, I met Malidoma Somé and read his book Of Water and the Spirit. Immediately it was clear to me, coming clean with the ancestors, ritual and community, that's where it goes on for me. My wife and cooperation partner, Helga Weule, is a philosopher, counselor and paintress, who had previously studied with the Peruvian shamans Eduardo Calderon, the Wizard of the Four Winds, and Agustin Rivas, the ayahuasquero from the jungle, and also brought me to them. We could bring this experience into this project. My focus and Helga's art can perhaps make something more visible in this film. This film has 3 sections. First, Dagara culture, learning fields, learning group. Second, the 5 elements of Dagara cosmology. Third, bridge and gifts. Here now Malidoma in his line of ancestors. Malidoma's parents, Papa Eli and Mama Colette, we were still able to meet. Papa Eli died in January 2003 at the age of 96. We were fascinated by the oracle reading, the deep knowledge, and the sacred technologies that this culture has at its disposal to make invisible visible and to initiate effective and healing action. All this is based on their world model, their cosmology, the medicine wheel of the 5 elements. All living things have consciousness: mountains, water, plants, trees, animals, people, and are made of the same elements and therefore share levels of understanding. The elements mix in varying degrees, but one element dominates and shapes. The 5 elements give a description of diversity in groups and communities, qualitatively and quantitatively. Each element has a male and a female side. The male side, associated with the numbers 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, and the female side, associated with the numbers 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. This can be formative for both men and women. For example, if the last digit of the year of birth is 0, male Earth dominates. If the last digit is 5, female Earth dominates. The drum calls for the common learning projects: life purpose, community ritual, oracle reading, men's work, and from this, the abundance project. This is an oracle set. The medicine wheel of the 5 elements is painted on a cloth. On it lie cowrie shells and other symbols. Malidoma Somé developed this form for the West. In Africa, the symbols lie on the bare earth. The questioner turns the shells with one hand, and a unique pattern or picture appears. The oracle reader reads this picture. 3 things are central to this: intention, allies, and action. Intention: what is my deep desire to turn to the oracle? Allies: what immaterial forces are at my side? Action: what ritual action must I do to dissolve jams, deadlock, and suffering, and to strengthen the flow of liveliness? To create with one's own hand a complex image that can bring out forgotten and submerged issues and can speak about unnameable things is magic. It shifts the boundary to that which cannot be known and cannot be recognized. In our Western culture, art comes closest to this. The magic of this ritual touched something inside me, which made me learn this art myself later. Malidoma Somé also comes from men's work in the United States, with Michael Mead and James Hillman. Since men in German-speaking Europe were interested, there took place 4 men's retreats. Retreat means withdrawal or seclusion. Echo of the ancestors. Once we were part of nature and had access to the knowledge of the earth. The world ash towered high in the sky and was rooted deep in the ground. The fountain of wisdom flowed at its feet. The ambit of the human world was still small and surrounded by the grandeur and horror of wild nature. In those distant times we worshipped in our communities the spirits of nature and the earth goddess. We still knew where we were coming from, and we knew where we were going. We were in touch with our ancestors who helped us survive in life. But nothing could stay as it was. The principle of power and world domination broke through. At Wotan, we can see what we men did. He takes from the well water to gain wisdom and sacrifices one eye for it. He breaks a branch from the world ash to make a spear with which he seeks to rule the world. This is what we did and do. We snatch the water of knowledge from the flowing fountain and break branches in order to rule. In this way we expand the ambit of the human world until nothing seems outside to our one-eyedness. No, we no longer need ancestors, no nature spirits, and no earth goddess. We are beyond that. But inside weeps a spring. In traditional West Africa there is a mighty baobab tree. An old well of wisdom still gives water at its feet. Tree and well speak to us. Let's listen. May we hear the echo of that time, our own inner being, the echo of our ancestors. Nothing can stay as it is. Out of the men's retreats, men came together. Some soon called these meetings village and opposed learning the art of divination together with women and under the co-guidance of a woman. This was one of the roots for the emergence of the Abundance Project. Living Abundance in a World of Scarcity, a training in the craft of spiritual medicine and community building. Here are the components. It took place twice, 2003-5 and 2005-7. How did community building work in the Abundance Project? Two aspirations worked with and against each other. One was to have creative community building as a process that could benefit from the diversity of its members and looks less to authorities. The other was the desire to learn in a student-master relationship, that is, to follow a healer from a foreign culture.
My name is Helga Weule. Malidoma had announced to us women of the Common Abundance Project that women of the community of his compound and his quarter would invite us to an old women's empowerment ritual. We were to take earth from our home place or land with us for this. He explained to us that in the Dagara culture, there are periodically recurring earth rituals for and by women to secure the relationship to the earth. This women's empowerment ritual is one of the oldest rituals and aims to maintain the female prerogative of exchange, such as of millet beer and shea butter. On 10th of February, just before my birthday, the Dagara women invited us into this ritual. Sat in the front of the old Sangala, the house where the women were brewing millet beer. On the one hand, we were very curious because our society, which is geared towards maximizing profit for the few and scarcity for the many, needs such rituals. On the other hand, we were also excited because Malidoma told us that the Dagara women were doing this for women from the West for the first time. The focus was on a special earth that was mixed with ashes in a big clay pot to make mud. The women also mixed in our soil that we had brought with us. After we had taken off our clothes, this mud was then applied to our bodies by the older Dagara women and we sat in the sun and let it dry. After it dried on our skin, it was washed off with a special herbal flower water. Each of us women was then given a special ritual cloth which we traditionally tied around our bodies. Finally, we went into the Sangala in pairs, one Dagara woman and one abundance woman, sat around the table, drank millet beer, talked as the best we could to our Dagara partners and thanked them. Outside there were then many hugs and invitations from us abundance women to join feast and celebration. The aim of the ritual, Malidoma told us, is to transform the stress and deficiency producing male economy into a female abundance producing economy, and thus also to restore the power of the food. In Burkina Faso, this is done practically by bringing the first self-earned salary from the city to the village and asking initiated women to touch it with her hand. In return, one gives a gift, buys a chicken and brings some money to the ancestors at the shrine along with a chicken offering. As this is a special basic women's ritual, the benefit for us Western women can be to have personal strength and ancestor support to be pioneers in our own culture. Pioneers by infiltrating also together with men the achievement and profit-oriented male economy and enable the female principle of communion with the earth, which offers abundance to all living beings. Abundance as you can find it in the diversity of the rainforest. For this it is certainly necessary to develop and carry out many such women's rituals in our culture with this aim. This is our task in the future.
Und die Helga hat gesagt, ja, und ja, da kommen aus da noch alle diese lieben Leute.
jetzt haben wir einen neuen Namen. Er kreiert gerade seinen Namen. Georg Bird Dancer. Ja?
Freust dich auf die Schule, gell, Apo? Toll.
Und dann macht der Laden auf.
Ja, hoffentlich macht der Laden auf. Ja, macht der Laden auf. Ja, macht der Laden auf. So, du kannst dich zuerst schauen, ja?
Oh, die Girls, 59er Jahre.
Wie geht's denn so? At the primordial beginning. Man and woman were united in one being, like Plato's spherical man. Then the two separated. Now there was imbalance between masculine and feminine, between fire and water. Dagara elders say, when the feminine is missing, the masculine is a danger to itself and causes scarcity and confusion. It knows it wants something for its abundance, but it does not know what it is. So it stuffs everything into itself, in the hope of satisfying its needs in this way. It starts spirals of growth. These are spirals of addiction, and builds sets of rules, institutions, and organizations, a feature of civilization taken to extremes in our globalized world order. But the engine of liveliness and life purpose is love and balance with the feminine in communities of diversity. Let us now look at the 5 elements. There are 2 pairs of polarities, fire and water as polarity between male and female on the one hand, and mineral and nature as the polarity of conservation and change on the other. The quality of their relationship forms on the earth center. Everything is made up of them, but one element is dominant and shapes. Each element has a feminine and a masculine aspect. Balance must therefore be constantly restored anew within and without. This requires the ability to perceive distinctions and to think in polarities and relationships. This can be experienced in a community ritual. Here, element clan groups are formed, fire people, water people, and so on. They quickly create shrines. They are a gateway to their own element. In the following, many such shrines can be seen. Their beauty calls the spirit. Their beauty touches the hearts. Earth stands for home, body, landscape, and the community that arises when one lives his or her life purpose. In the body, the belly and womb correspond to it. This is the radical opposite of that view of body and earth as afflicted with original sin. Is this why the natural religions are still not invited to the table of the so-called high religions? Earth people know how to act, how to care for others, and how to let them flourish well. A learning field, on the other hand, is to also take good care of one's own needs. The vitality of the earth emerges from water and from the biodiversity of nature. Mineral brings strength and is a storehouse of knowledge. Fire gives warmth.
Azima wo, azima wo, azima wo, azima wo, azima wo.
Fire is light, heart, warmth, feeling, sexuality, the fuel that sets people in motion. Fire drives life forward. It is the energetic body of human beings. Spiritually, its energy connects people to the world of ancestors and vision. Fire people often instinctively know what to do ritually. They see the lighthouse on the horizon, but they must work to focus the path to it as well, for they quickly become impatient and angry if the course to it is more difficult than expected. The energy of water can calm them. The power of earth can ground their vision. Nature helps to consider change, and mineral provides for their social inclusion. Without heart and without balancing interaction with the other elements, the destructive side of fire dominates in a person and in a social structure and destroys the flow of life. For example, the Dagara see our Western culture as a wilderness completely out of balance.
Pura samine, pura samine, pura samine, oh, pura samine, oh, pura mamine.
Water. The sea is the origin and home of us all. It gives birth to life. Water is the blood of the earth. 70% of our body consists of water. Water is the river with which people travel through life. Flowing water is able to give fertility to earth, plants, and living beings. So lively water people can strengthen the flow of the living, have a healing effect. Flowing water has a preferential direction and penetrates or washes around every obstacle, unlike fire, which strikes like lightning. Thus, the water people's field of learning is conflicts and crises. Spiritually, connects its energy with the world of the spirit, The Dagara therefore see its physical equivalent in the crown chakra. If an obstacle cannot be bypassed, water is dammed up and loses its vitality. Water needs fire to flow. Without fire it freezes. It evaporates when the fire becomes too hot. Earth gives it a shore, a form. Nature gives a sense of change and the gentle flowing along with the change of its environment. Mineral carries the memory of evolution.
La la kulaya, la la kulaya, la la kulaya, la la kulaya.
Mineral. Stones, rocks and mountains are the bones of the earth. They have a solid structure and are storages of essential knowledge. Mountains connect heaven and earth and provide orientation. Mineral people have an inner connection to this knowledge. The Dagara see the left hand as physical equivalent of mineral. Mineral people love community and enjoy storytelling and sharing. The question is, which kind of stories? Those that are nourished by a living tradition, or others that are only quickly applauded? Dagara elders say, mineral needs fire to maintain the flow of data with earth. Earth is needed to verify the data that come from the evolution of life. Nature is a dialogue partner because both are in the same relationship with the earth. Water could wash out unwanted data and thus maintain its data stock.
Bobo Male, Sushumaya, Bobo Male, Bobo Male, Bobo Male, Sushumaya, Bobo Male, Bobo Male, Bobo Male, Sushumaya, Bobo Male, Bobo Male, Bobo Male, Sushumaya, Bobo Male, Bobo Male.
Nature stands for change and magic. It realizes immaterial stories of change, alignment and adaptation in a continuous process of birth and rebirth. Its most visible expression is trees and the ecosystem wilderness. Nature stands for creativity and innovation, whereas mineral stands for the structure of what has become and the developmental aims enclosed in it. The Dagara see the right hand as its physical equivalent. Nature people love and practice magic and transformation. If they sit together in a group, there is much laughter, stories, and joy. They are said to be good at emulating all other elements. These gifts need alignment through vision. Otherwise, they can become a source of hubris and power games. Nature needs water to blossom and flourish. Earth is its mother soil. Diversity is a key to their interaction. The warmth of fire gives it color, and mineral gives it language. If we fail to change our food system, humanity will be finished, warned primatologist Jane Goodall in the British Guardian on 3rd of June 2020. We have brought this on ourselves because we overexploit and totally disrespect animals and the environment. Our disrespect for wild animals and our disrespect for farm animals has led to diseases spreading to and infecting humans. The cowrie shell oracle from the Dagara culture is based on a reality construction that has many similarities with the holistic, process-oriented thinking and acting of systems and of chaos theory. The Dagara world model depicts interactions that our dialectical thinking and our intuitive networking thinking can describe. In the image of a shell spread, the power relations of the now become visible, by which all living things are permeated like a mobile. In contrast, the view of humans as the crown of creation separates us from all living things and confines us to an action of exploiting nature. Systems theory and cybernetics highlight that the solution to the ecological crisis also requires a different view of human beings than the Homo economicus. One such is, for example, every person is his or her own essential metaphor, by Mary Catherine Bateson. In other words, there is something unique in every person. This approach has much in common with the indigenous view of the world and the human being. Oracle reading is a listening and seeing into the still unformed invisible world in order to gain indications for a healing action that brings things out of balance back into balance. We have very good experiences with including it in our systemic counseling of individuals, couples, and groups.